The NBA has seen its share of scandals, from off-court misconduct to on-court chaos, that left lasting impacts on the league. This list covers 5 of the most notorious NBA scandals of the modern era, focusing on controversies that had significant effects on teams or the league itself. These range from a referee's betrayal of the game's integrity to players and owners facing serious consequences for their actions. Each scandal not only made headlines, but also prompted changes or sanctions that shaped the NBA going forward. In July 2007, veteran NBA referee Tim Donaghy became the center of a massive gambling scandal that threatened the integrity of the sport. An FBI investigation revealed that Donaghy had been betting on NBA games he officiated and was even making calls to affect the point spread in games, in collusion with illegal gamblers. Donaghy resigned and later pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges, admitting he had provided inside information to bookies and influenced game scores for betting purposes. He was sentenced to 15 months in federal prison in 2008 for his actions. Investigators found no evidence that any other referees were involved or that Donaghy outright fixed final game outcomes beyond manipulating point margins. Nevertheless, the Donaghy scandal was one of the worst breaches of trust in NBA history. The league was quote-unquote terrified of any suggestion that its competition could be rigged. In response, the NBA tightened oversight of officials and implemented new measures to ensure fans that games were fair and free from illicit influence.
Were there any real changes that came from this?
Not that I know of, to be honest with you. I think that there should have been a lot of things that should have been done. I think you should be out there enforcing the rules as they're written in the rule book and not taking into effect the score of the game or how much time's left on the clock. You have to enforce the rules as they're written in the rule book, kind of like how the college game does it.
On November 19, 2004, a regular season game between the Indiana Pacers and Detroit Pistons devolved into a shocking, all-out brawl involving players and fans. An incident so notorious, it's now known as the Malice at the Palace. It began in the final minute of the game after a hard foul by Ron Artest on Ben Wallace triggered an on-court scuffle between players. As tempers seemed to be cooling, a fan hurled a drink from the stands that hit Artest, who then charged into the crowd to confront the suspected culprit. This ignited mayhem. Artest and teammates fought with fans in the stands. Other fans poured onto the court, and punches were thrown in every direction. The melee lasted several minutes before police and security restored order. The aftermath was unmatched. NBA Commissioner David Stern suspended 9 players for a total of 146 games, one of the harshest collective punishments in league history. Artest received the biggest penalty, a suspension for the remainder of the season, 73 regular season games plus playoffs. Pacers teammates Steven Jackson and Jermaine O'Neal were banned for 30 and 15 games respectively, and Detroit's Ben Wallace got a 6-game ban, among others. Players lost an estimated $11 million in salary due to these suspensions. Legal consequences followed as well. 5 players were charged with assault, eventually pleading out to probation and community service, and 5 fans faced criminal charges and were banned for life from attending Pistons games. The brawl badly tarnished the NBA's image. Pistons coach Larry Brown said, "I'm embarrassed for our league." The Malice at the Palace stands as the NBA's worst ever on-court incident and a turning point for league policies on player and fan conduct. In April 2014, the NBA was rocked by the disgrace of Donald Sterling, then owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, whose own racist words led him to being exiled from the league. The scandal erupted when TMZ published audio recordings of Sterling making racist remarks in an argument with his girlfriend. On the tape, recorded privately and leaked to the media, Sterling angrily admonished her for broadcasting that she's associating with black people after she posted a photo with Magic Johnson, and he implored her not to bring black guests to Clippers games. At one point, Sterling can be heard begrudging that he gives his black players on the Clippers food and clothes and cars and houses, implying they should be grateful and not socializing with black people publicly.
To the U.S. now, where a racism scandal is erupting during the NBA playoffs. The owner of the Los Angeles Clippers is accused of telling his girlfriend not to bring black players to his games. The allegations prompted a silent protest on the court and plenty of outrage off it. The CBC's Paul Hunter has the story.
Upon entering the court for pregame warm-ups.
Pre-game, and from the LA Clippers, practice jerseys inside out, hiding the team logo, then tossed on the ground. A protest against team owner Donald Sterling. Fans echoed their disgust. Sterling's under fire for taped comments said to be of him telling his girlfriend to not bring black people to his games and to not post photos of herself with black people on social media.
Yeah, it bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with black people. You don't have to. You could sleep with them, you could bring them in, you could do whatever you want. The little I ask you is not to promote it on that and not to bring them to my games.
These blatantly racist comments by an NBA owner caused immediate outrage among players, fans, and the public. The timing could have not been worse. The Clippers were in the middle of the 2014 playoffs when the recording surfaced. There were discussions among players about boycotting games, and the Clippers team staged a silent protest by wearing their warm-up jerseys inside out to hide the team logo. Under immense pressure, newly minted NBA Commissioner Adam Silver took decisive action. Just 4 days after the tape was released, Silver announced that Sterling would be banned for life from the NBA and fined the maximum $2.5 million. Silver condemned Sterling's comments as deeply hurtful and damaging to the league, and he moved to force Sterling to sell the Clippers.
Accordingly, effective immediately, I am banning Mr. Sterling for life from any association with the Clippers organization or the NBA. Mr. Sterling may not attend any NBA games or practices. He may not be present at any Clippers facility, and he may not participate in any business or player personnel decisions involving the team.
In the ensuing months, Sterling's estranged wife, Shelley, who co-owned the team, negotiated a sale of the Clippers to former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer for an astonishing $2 billion. Sterling initially fought the sale in court, but a judge ruled that Shelley had the authority to sell and that Sterling had no legal grounds to stop it. By August 2014, the sale was completed and Sterling was out. The Sterling scandal was unmatched in NBA history. Never before had an owner been banned for life, and it tested the league's leadership. The NBA's firm and swift response earned widespread praise, sending a clear message that racist attitudes had no place in the league. The incident also led to initiatives to reinforce diversity and tolerance, and it showed players the league could support them in the face of egregious ownership behavior. Dismissing Sterling remains a defining moment that demonstrated the NBA's zero-tolerance stance on racism at the highest level of the sport. In 2023, Ja Morant, one of the NBA's brightest young superstars, became embroiled in controversy after a series of off-court incidents involving firearms, ultimately resulting in one of the stiffest suspensions for a star player in league history. The trouble began in March 2023 when Morant appeared on an Instagram Live video holding a handgun while at a nightclub, just hours after a game. In response, the NBA suspended Morant for 8 games, with Commissioner Adam Silver calling his conduct irresponsible, reckless, and potentially very dangerous. Morant apologized, entered a brief counseling program, and said he understood what I have to lose by such behavior. However, only 2 months later in May 2023, another Instagram Live video surfaced showing him flashing a gun while riding in a friend's car, singing along to music. The backlash was immediate and much stronger. The Memphis Grizzlies suspended him from all team activities pending an NBA review, and fans and media questioned whether Morant was learning from his mistakes. After the season ended, Commissioner Silver waited until after the NBA Finals to announce a heavy punishment. Morant was suspended for 25 games to start the 2023-2024 season for conduct detrimental to the league. Silver's statement on the suspension expressed alarm that Morant had repeated the offense and emphasized that engaging in reckless and irresponsible behavior with guns will not be tolerated. The league also imposed conditions for Morant's return, requiring him to undergo counseling and prove he understands his responsibilities before his reinstatement. This saga had serious consequences for Morant's career. The 25-game ban without pay will cost him roughly $7.5 million in salary. And earlier that spring, he'd already lost a major Powerade endorsement deal and missed out on an All-NBA team selection, which in turn cost him a chance at a $39 million contract bonus. The incidents also cast a shadow over the Memphis Grizzlies season, as Morant's absence left the team without its best player for a significant stretch. The Morant scandal has become a cautionary tale for the league, a reminder that even young superstars will face severe disciplinary action if their off-court behavior endangers the league's image or public safety. As Morant himself admitted, his off-court issues affected us as an organization. I've just got to be better with my decision-making. The hope, both for Morant and the NBA, is that he uses this time to mature and that no similar incidents occur in the future. In October 2025, the NBA was blindsided by a scandal that reads like a Hollywood crime thriller. Rigged poker games, insider betting, and mafia involvement all rolled into one. Federal investigators spent years uncovering two interconnected conspiracies that implicated a sitting head coach and a current player. In a sweeping FBI operation spanning 11 states, 34 people were arrested, including Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier. Both men, one a Hall of Fame player turned coach, the other a flashy scoring guard, were placed on immediate leave from their teams as the news broke. Authorities say this scandal involved two criminal schemes working in tandem. In one scheme, Billups allegedly took part in secret high-stakes poker games that were rigged by mobsters using high-tech gear. These weren't your friendly casino nights. Prosecutors revealed that Mafia families backed the games, using altered card shuffling machines and X-ray cameras to see opponents' cards, and cheat wealthy gamblers out of millions. Billups, a beloved NBA Finals MVP from 2004, supposedly lent his star power to attract victims to the tables and got a cut of the illicit profits for helping stack the deck, according to the indictment. Terry Rozier is accused of feeding insider information to bettors for profit. In a plot straight out of a crime novel, Rozier and others allegedly conspired to wager on NBA games using confidential team info, even arranging for players to intentionally sit out or underperform in games to sway the bets. In one striking example, Rozier reportedly told a friend he would fake an injury and leave a March 2023 game early. That friend and others then bet over $200K that Rozier's stats would stay low. Sure enough, Rozier left after a few minutes of play, and those bets hit the jackpot. When this bombshell investigation went public, officials did not mince words. FBI Director Kash Patel called the level of fraud mind-boggling, linking it to an insider trading ring affecting the NBA. A U.S. attorney described it as one of the most brazen sports corruption schemes seen in the modern era of legal sports betting.
Here in New York, to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchesi crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country.
Both Billups and Rozier were indicted on federal charges of wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy, facing up to 20 years in prison on each count if convicted. The NBA, shocked, vowed full cooperation with authorities and stressed that the integrity of the game is the top priority. As of now, this case is still developing. Neither man has been convicted, and they each insist on their innocence as they await trial. But even without a verdict yet, the scale of this scandal is immense. It has cast a long shadow over the league, bringing back echoes of past gambling nightmares. If the allegations hold true, the Billups-Rozier saga could go down as one of the darkest chapters in NBA history, a chilling reminder that even the guardians of the game can fall prey to greed.